Good morning, brothers and sisters. I'd like to talk about the gospel in the stars, and the tabernacle for the sun, book 1, the Redeemer, chapter 1, Virgo, the branch. This is part 1, Coma, the desired of the nations. As the sun comes as a bridegroom out of his chamber, it traveled around the firmament of its tabernacle, revealing God's handiwork written in the stars from the beginning. When God made the stars, he formed these images in the sky. But they're in a circle. So how do you know where the story starts? Because every time you look up at the stars, it's different. That's why people in ancient times created the Sphinx. The Sphinx, and there's over 7,000 of them that have been found. The Sphinx shows the head of a woman and the body of a lion. And this is to show us that it begins with a woman, the virgin, and ends with a lion, Leo. So the beginning of the story begins with the virgin, the branch. And I spoke about that earlier. Night after night adds new knowledge about the gospel in this tabernacle for the sun. Now, passing over Virgo the branch, we see Coma, the desire of the nations. Here she is. Coma. It's the mother with her child. Now, this is not to be confused with Coma Berenices, a modern constellation made up partly of Leo's tail. This is Coma, the woman with her child. There is no man there, just the woman and child. The wise men came to worship him because he is the branch, the Redeemer, the beauty of those escaped from Israel, the son of David, who reigns, prospers, and executed judgment and justice in the earth. Servant of God, he shall grow up out of his place and build the temple. That's the branch. Now, in this constellation, there is no man, only the woman with her child. Where is the father? Jesus' father is God. Joseph wasn't his father, and Joseph wasn't there to raise Jesus. Joseph was there to protect Mary when she became pregnant when the child wasn't his. His name was strong enough to protect her because of his lineage that is found in both Matthew and Luke. But he was reasonable enough not to have her killed. Apart from his genealogy, the Bible tells us three things about Joseph. God told Joseph not to be afraid to marry Mary after she was pregnant with Jesus. God told Joseph to take Jesus to Egypt so Herod wouldn't kill him, Matthew 2:13. And Jesus told Mary Joseph was not his father, Luke 2:49. So God's purpose for Joseph was to marry Mary. God's purpose for Joseph to marry Mary was not for him to be a father to Jesus, but to keep him from being killed as a baby. It was only Mary, his mother, and this child. She raised him by herself with her sister, who had other children. Mary was a beautiful woman, stern and loving. In a period of devotion one day, or a couple of days, Jesus took me to meet his mother. She is a beautiful lady, not the normal example of a Jewish woman. She was very beautiful, with bright eyes and light-colored hair. This child, along with his mother, is the promised Redeemer, the desire of the nations. The wise men came to worship the child who was born King of the Jews because they had seen his star in the east and knew he was born after seeing his story in the stars since ancient times. I would like to talk about my book, The Everlasting Gospel of Jesus. This is the woman breaking the alabaster box of spikenard on Jesus' head the night before Jesus had the Last Supper with his disciples. The disciples are all angry that she is wasting the spikenard by pouring it all out on Jesus' head. It could have been sold to feed the poor, but Jesus said she had done a good work, the best that she could do. He said wherever the gospel was preached anywhere in the world, what she had done would be told as a testimony for her. So the gospel story isn't Peter, James, and John. It is this woman and what she did, and Jesus and what he did. They didn't know who she was, where she came from, where she was going, or what she was doing. She was doing the work God had for her to do, and everyone was murmuring and complaining about it. Then she left. That's the gospel. Just like Jesus. Nobody knew who he was, where he came from, where he was going, or what he was doing. He was doing good work, the best that he could do, and everyone was murmuring and complaining. Then he left. That's the gospel. So when you're doing God's work in the gospel, people don't know who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going, or what you're doing. Just do good work, the best that you can do, and everyone will be murmuring and complaining. Then you can leave. That's the gospel. It's available in English, Spanish, and soon to come out in French.